She was 4 games away from losing, head down, crowd nervous, opponent in control. And then somehow Eala flipped the entire match on its head in a way that might change her career forever. Because this was not just another comeback. This was the kind of match players talk about years later, as the moment everything shifted. And if you stick around, we're going to break down why this win in Abu Dhabi could be the spark that turns Eala from rising talent into full-blown WTA contender. At 0-4 in the final set against Aliksandra Sasnovich, the match felt over. Momentum was gone. Energy looked drained. Sasnovich was striking the ball clean, serving with confidence and controlling rallies. Eala wasn't just behind on the scoreboard. She looked emotionally spent. And then came the point that changed everything. A break point she had to save just to avoid going down 0-5. Lose that, and we're probably talking about a brave effort in defeat. Instead, we're talking about one of the most defining wins of her life. She saved it, not with a lucky miss-hit or a wild error from her opponent. She earned it. That moment shifted the tension in the stadium. You could feel it. The crowd, which had been anxious, suddenly believed. And when tennis crowds believe, something strange happens. Energy transfers. Players feel it. Confidence returns. Doubt creeps in on the other side of the net. From there, Eala didn't just survive. She started swinging freely again. Her forehand, which had been tentative, suddenly had shape and depth. Her movement sharpened. She stepped inside the baseline instead of retreating. Sasnovich, who had been dictating, began missing by smaller and smaller margins. The scoreboard pressure reversed. What was supposed to be a routine closeout turned into a nightmare. And this is why this match matters so much. Young players often have talent. Many even have big wins. But very few prove they can stare down defeat, stay emotionally present, and rebuild a match from almost nothing. That's a skill that separates future champions from highlight reel prospects. After grinding back, Eala forced a final set tiebreak. Just getting there felt like a small miracle, considering where she had been. But she didn't celebrate early. In the breaker, she played with clarity. First serve percentage up, aggressive returns, smart shot selection. She wasn't hoping Sasnovich would miss. She was making things happen. When the final point ended and the scoreboard read 2-6, 6-4, 7-6, the reaction said everything. No wild theatrics. No dramatic collapse to the court. She stood there for a moment, soaking in the noise, almost in disbelief, like someone who had just lived through something too intense to process immediately. And then came the words that told us how much this meant. She said she couldn't believe it. She called these moments the kind she had only dreamed about. She talked about playing in packed stadiums like it was something surreal. That right there's a reminder. Eala is still only 20. We talk about her like she's been around forever, because she's been on the radar since her junior Grand Slam days. But emotionally, she's still collecting firsts. First massive comeback on a big stage. First time carrying a crowd through a roller coaster match like this. What stood out to me most was her honesty. She didn't pretend she was calm the whole time. She acknowledged how well Sasnovich played, especially early, stepping up in tight moments and firing winners. That's important. Champions respect the storm they survived. They don't rewrite the story as if they were always in control. Then she talked about fight. That word gets thrown around in tennis interviews. But this time it felt real, because we saw the exact moments where fight was the only thing she had left. Tactics were breaking down. Rhythm was gone. All she could lean on was effort, belief, and one more ball back. That's not technical. That's identity. This is also where the bigger picture comes in. With Belinda Bencic withdrawing from the tournament, the draw opened up. Suddenly the path to a deep run looked different. But open draws don't mean easy draws. They mean opportunity mixed with pressure. Now you're not sneaking through. Now people expect something. Next up is Ekaterina Alexandrova, the second seed, a top-level ball striker who takes time away and doesn't give you rhythm. That's a brutal stylistic matchup after an emotional marathon. The real challenge now isn't physical. It's emotional reset. Can Eala come back down, recover, and start fresh? Because sometimes a match after a miracle is harder than the miracle itself. Here's why I think this one might still carry her through. Confidence earned under pressure is different from confidence built in routine wins. When you come back from 0-4 and save break points with your tournament life on the line, you bank something mentally. In the next tight moment, your brain says we've been here and we survived. Her live ranking jump toward a career high around the top 40 adds another layer. Rankings aren't just numbers. They change how draws fall. They change who fears you. They change whether you're the hunter or the hunted. For years, Eala has been the promising youngster with potential. Slowly, that label is being replaced by something else. Legitimate threat. And let's talk about the crowd factor. Eala has become one of those players fans gravitate toward. There's an authenticity to her reactions, a visible emotional connection to every point. In Abu Dhabi, that connection was obvious. When she started the comeback, the energy shift was loud. Opponents feel that. It's not unfair. It's part of sport. Handling the atmosphere is another step toward elite status. But here's the curiosity that makes this story even more interesting. Big comebacks can either launch a new level or drain everything emotionally. We've seen both happen in tennis history. Some players ride the wave for months. Others crash in the next round because they emptied the tank. So the real question is not just what this win was. It's what it unlocks. Technically, there are still areas she'll need to sharpen against the very top players. Second serve consistency under pressure. Shorter points when ahead in rallies. Closing instincts when she gets leads. Ironically, learning to win more comfortably is the next step after learning you can survive chaos. But mentally, this was a breakthrough performance. You can't teach the experience of turning a match around when everything feels lost. That's earned the hard way, under lights, with your heart racing and your opponent smelling victory. When she said these are the matches that stick with you, she's right. Years from now, if she's deep in a Grand Slam second week match and down a break in the third, this night in Abu Dhabi will be in the memory bank. Proof that scorelines don't dictate endings. I also love that she didn't get carried away talking about the draw opening. She acknowledged there's a long way to go, and each round gets harder. That balance between dreaming big and staying grounded is delicate. Too much hype too fast can weigh on young players. Staying present match by match is how runs actually happen. From a fan perspective, this is why we watch sports. Not just for trophies or rankings, but for human moments where someone refuses to fade. At 0-4, most viewers probably thought the story was over. Instead, we got a reminder that belief can be louder than logic. So now I want to throw it to you, because this is where the Tennis IQ community always brings great takes. Was this the match that truly announces Eala as a future top 10 player? Or do you think she still needs a signature win against an established superstar to make that leap? I'm really curious where you stand. Either way, Abu Dhabi gave us a glimpse of something powerful. Not perfection, not dominance, but resilience under fire. And sometimes that's the exact ingredient that starts a career-changing run. We'll be watching the next round closely, because how she responds now might tell us just as much as a comeback itself. Tennis careers don't turn on one swing. They turn on moments that change what a player believes is possible. This felt like one of those moments. And if this is only the beginning of Eala's biggest chapters, then remember where you were when the momentum first shifted under the Abu Dhabi lights. Tennis is unpredictable, emotional, and brutal. But every once in a while, it gives us a night where heart overrides a scoreboard. This was one of those nights. And for Eala, it might be the night everything started to look different. That's why we watch. That's why we care. And that's why this comeback will be talked about for a long time. Tennis IQ is where we break down the moments that change careers, not just the scores that fill the brackets. Stick with us, because if this run continues, you already know we'll be right here telling the story as unfolds.